Hey everyone, Mandy here from Healing Hopeful Survivor. I hope everyone is having an awesome day. So for this video, I'm going to do something a little bit different, take a bit of a different route than what my videos usually are about on my channel, which is about narcissism and narcissistic abuse. Instead, I'm doing this because of a recent experience that I've had within the last few weeks, and I've noticed that there have been other videos out there that I'm going to say are kind of along the lines of fear-mongering and, the worst case scenario. Let's get right to it. I'm going to talk about having my gallbladder removed, which happened very recently. So before we get into that, let's talk about the elephant in the room right now. I am, in fact, sitting in my bathroom. The reason why I'm doing that is because I'm soaking my feet. I have very bad dry skin on my feet. It's not cool, and I have to do this about once a week. So I just sit on the side of my bathtub, put my feet in. So while I'm doing that, I might as well talk to all you fine people about having my gallbladder removed. So today is Saturday, July 20th, 2019. 50 years ago, the moon lander happened. That is really cool. And which means that 4 weeks ago, this coming Monday, I had the surgery to have my gallbladder removed. Which means that 6 weeks ago tomorrow, which is July 21st, Sunday, July 21st, 6 weeks ago tomorrow, I had the gallbladder attack that would end all gallbladder attacks. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to talk about my experience dealing with that, kind of talk about what happened, and then lead into, the surgery and what I experienced after the surgery. Okay, so let's get into it. So I'm going to take it back 6 weeks. It was about the middle of June. It was a Sunday. And one night, Sunday, on that particular Sunday evening, I had finished eating supper. Everything was fine. But within the hour of finishing eating supper, I started to feel like I had eaten too much. So that feeling you get when you eat too much and you have that full feeling and you're kind of uncomfortable? It was kind of like that. But it was basically the closest thing I can say is that it was like I had eaten too much. But I hadn't eaten too much because I didn't even finish my dinner. I didn't even finish my supper. So I knew that I shouldn't be over full. Anyway, I didn't pay too much attention to it. Shortly after that, about an hour after that, I started to feel like my abdomen was now filling up with gas or air or, something like that. And it was now past being uncomfortable and now became painful because the air was or gas or whatever it was now pressing up against my rib cage. It was, my muscles in my abdomen became tense, sore, which then ended up going around to the back. I guess sort of just under, where your ribs would, or not your ribs, your, where your lungs would be. I don't know. It felt like just where my rib cage would be around to the back, like I had a band around that. And it was, as the night went on, it got more painful, and I thought to myself, if I just had a big burp or something, it would go away, because at this point I'm thinking I have, a buildup of gas, I have indigestion or whatever. So anyway, around 9 o'clock that night is when I started getting sick to my stomach. And that started around 9, and it continued all the way until 2 o'clock in the morning, when it finally stopped and the pain started to subside and started to go away. Now, as I mentioned, this was Sunday night, which meant that I had to be at work the following morning, which was Monday. Unfortunately, I didn't go to work. And it wasn't because I didn't have a whole lot of sleep. So when I did finally get to sleep, I woke up the following morning, to get up for work, and my face was swollen. My cheeks, like in this area, was all swollen. My eyes weren't swollen, but the cheeks were swollen. And on top of that, I had blood in my eye, in this eye. So I had broken a blood vessel from vomiting so much. So I looked like I had been beaten up, minus any bruises or cuts. So I looked horrible. So I didn't go to work that day. And that probably should have been reason number one to go to the hospital after a night of vomiting and I have a swollen face. I didn't go to the hospital. Instead, I did something that you're not supposed to do. And I Googled my symptoms. But I didn't Google what had happened the night before with me being so sick. Instead, I looked up, is it possible to get a swollen face from vomiting? And I ended up finding a website from the Mayo Clinic or something, which I think is pretty trusted source. And I found that yes, it is possible. And the swelling should be gone within 24 hours. And it actually was. Come Monday night, it had subsided quite a bit. And come Tuesday, I was able to go back to work. I looked normal again, minus the blood in my eyes, which took about 3 weeks to go away. So that was my experience with that. So what I want to actually say was the night that I was sick. Some people are on here probably like, well, why didn't you go to the hospital when you were so sick? Well, first of all, it was the middle of the night. And who wants to get in the car while you're vomiting? But I actually thought that I had food poisoning or something because it all started shortly after eating supper. Even though nobody else in my house got sick. But this is what I'm telling myself, okay? It's like a bit of food poisoning. When it went away, I pretty much felt okay. However, I seemed to not bounce back from that night of being so sick. So what followed that was that over the next few days, over the next week, I found that every time I ate something solid, like meat or potatoes or like a meal of some kind, something that you could consider to be solid food, I would get this horrible pain that would settle right into my back on my right side, and it would settle in there and then begin to make its way to the front, which would then lead to the other muscles on the other side and go right around just like it did that first night. But the pain was not as bad. It was annoying. It was kind of like a dull pain, annoying pain, but it wasn't anything like it was the night that I was really sick. So then, now I'm thinking, okay, maybe because I was so sick and I had all that pain that maybe I have bruised muscles around my ribs. Once again, I do something that I'm not supposed to do. And I Googled my symptoms. And once again, I find something, I think, on the Mayo Clinic and said that yes, if you have heavy vomiting, it is possible to bruise the muscles. And that should be gone within a few days. So I put up with that for like a week. However, near the end of that week, I was no longer eating solid food. I was now eating something, like scrambled eggs were fine to eat because they're, fluffy. But if I were to follow that up with, say, toast, the pain would settle in. So by the end of the week, I was pretty much not eating anything solid. Probably reason number 2 to go to the hospital, which I did not do. This is why you don't Google your symptoms, okay? If you think you should go to the doctor, go to a doctor. Anywho, so now that brings us to a week later, the following Monday. On that morning, I woke up to get up for work, and I felt like I just didn't feel well. So I felt like, I can't even describe it. I just felt fuzzy. Like I wasn't dizzy, my vision wasn't blurred, but I just I can't even describe it. Like, I'm not going to say it was flu-like, or I didn't feel like I was getting sick. I just didn't feel right. And my cheeks kept getting hot. And whenever I did, I would break out in the sweat along my hairline. Like, it wouldn't break out anywhere else in my face, just along here on the hairline. And I had to actually run down to the gas station, which is about 2 blocks from my house. And I had to put gas in the car before I headed out to work. And as I'm driving to the gas station, like I said, which is only like 2 blocks away, I really was not feeling well. And I started to feel even more fuzzy. My eyeballs felt like they were bouncing around in my sockets, even though it wasn't affecting my vision. It just didn't feel right. So then I finally admit to myself that I should probably go see a doctor with what was going on. So now I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe because I was so sick a week ago, with how sick I was, is it possible that I may have ingested some fluid into my lungs and this is now the beginning of pneumonia? This is what I'm thinking. So the plan was that I would go to work. I work in healthcare. Or actually, I work in home care. Yes, I work in healthcare, and yet I'm not going to the hospital for my symptoms. Just don't ask. We are the worst ones for going to the hospital. Trust me. Anyhow, so I decide, okay, I'm going to go to work. I only have like 4 or 5 patients to see today. I'm going to go see them. And then after I'm done with my last patient, I will go to the hospital. So I drive down to the gas station, and I come home, and it's now like 7:15. I'm supposed to be at work for like within an hour, and I just, when you have like that gut feeling that says don't go, and it was telling me don't go to work, like you go to the hospital, phone in, go to the hospital. So that's what I ended up doing. So that's now 2 Mondays that I have missed work. So I go to the hospital. I get up there around 8 o'clock and in the morning. And when I got there, I didn't tell them that I thought I had pneumonia. Instead, I actually told them what had been going on the last week. I told them about being really sick. I told them what was happening every time I ate like solid food, and the pain that I was getting. And so I see a doctor, and she comes in and does like an abdominal exam and starts pressing and gets right around my ribs, and it was uncomfortable. And I was like, oh, that kind of hurts. And she's like, yeah, we're sending you up to get your gallbladder checked. And at this point, I'm like, gallbladder? What? Like, honest to God, guys, gallbladder never even entered my head. This whole time that I've been going through this, the night that I was sick, the getting the back pain, and here's the thing, like working in healthcare, I know what the symptoms of a gallbladder attack are. And not once, that whole night that I was sick, what was going on after that, not once did gallbladder even come to my head. This is crazy, I know. So anyway, I get sent up to go to have a ultrasound done. And within the hour, I'm being told that, yes, it's your gallbladder. And we're probably going to be doing the surgery today. So this is now like a week later. And I'm like, what, you're doing this today? And she's like, yeah, probably. So don't eat anything. Happened to be that I hadn't eaten anything yet because, by this time I'm not eating anything. I don't want to eat. Okay, so as it happened, the surgery actually ended up not being done that day. The surgeon did come down and talk to me, told me, call my office tomorrow, because we have to remember I actually wasn't having a gallbladder attack the day I went up to the hospital, because I was thinking pneumonia. And he says, call my office the next morning, which was Tuesday. I did, and I got booked in for the surgery the following Monday, which meant that was the 3rd Monday in a row that I missed work. So anyway, I go in and have the surgery. It was day surgery. I went in for 9 o'clock in the morning, and I was home later that afternoon. So what did I experience? Okay, so now we deal with the healing. In all honesty, now I know that everybody's different. I understand that different people experience things differently. I am not taking it away from anybody who says that they have a horrible experience. I'm not taking it away from anybody who claims that their gallbladder surgery was horrible, and I'm not minimizing that. I'm not taking away from that. Like I said, everybody is different. For me, I really was not that bad. Even when I came home on the Monday, I really wasn't feeling pain. Actually, the way I felt, it actually felt like I had done about 1,000 sit-ups. Like I was very, tight stomach. The next day, which was the Tuesday, the day after the surgery, even then I really wasn't experiencing much in the way of pain. Now I didn't eat a whole lot. I kept my diet to pudding and applesauce, and I would pretty much lounged around on the couch all day and binged watched stuff on Netflix. On the third day, I did start introducing some more solid food. So scrambled eggs again. I did make some quiche for supper, which seemed to be okay. Now come the third day, which was Wednesday, is the day that I started noticing that I did have some diarrhea, a very loose stool. And that usually followed every time I ate, which meant that I couldn't be very far from the bathroom. Not like I'm going out anywhere. I just had surgery. But it wasn't like a traumatizing experience by any means. However, there is something that I did notice that took about 4 days. Now, after the surgery, for about 4 days afterwards, I found that whenever I found that I got tired really easily, and I would have to go down, lay down, have a nap. So I would get up in the morning after sleeping great, and I would get up and feed the animals, and I'd be done that, and I'd be like, I want to go back to bed for a nap. And I would. And I'd probably sleep for another hour, and then I'd get up again, and then, say I had to, wash dishes or do whatever, and I would feel exhausted. Apparently that is normal, and that lasted for about 4 days. So I had the surgery Monday, and then by Friday, I was pretty much not having the fatigue anymore. As for, the diarrhea, the loose stool, that only really lasted for probably about the same time as the fatigue, so about 4 days. Come the weekend, I was eating solid food. And now, mind you, I wasn't eating fatty food, like hamburgers or anything, but I was eating meat and being okay with it. Come the second week, I actually felt like I was off work for 2 weeks. I felt like I could have gone back to work because everything, everything was digesting fine. I felt fine. And there is actually one thing that I want to mention that I thought was really cool. After having the gallbladder removed, within a few days, I started to notice that, now you can't really see it very much here because I've got the curtain behind me, but I started to notice that my skin on my face seemed, the color on my cheeks seemed to be there, whereas before I always kind of thought I looked tired. My skin started to feel better, so more smooth. So to be honest, obviously this gallbladder thing had been a problem for a while, but it just went undetected until it came to a head the night that I was really, really sick. So after being off for 2 weeks, I was back to work, and my hair is going frizzy because of this hot water. You've probably noticed that. Sorry, naturally curly hair. And I was back to work after 2 weeks. So, that's my experience with the gallbladder. That's everything that happened up until, so here we are. It's been 4 weeks this coming Monday since I've had the gallbladder surgery. I'm back to eating regular food. I'm able to digest it fine. Actually, as a matter of fact, the other day we went out for lunch at Boston Pizza. I had a pizza. And actually, you know what? I'm going to say that you have to try. They have their pineapple menu on right now. I had the Royal Hawaiian. Amazing. Awesome pizza. I don't know if they have Boston pizza in the States. Here in Canada, try it. It is amazing. But my point of it is that I was fine. I was able to go continue on with my day, no issues whatsoever. So anyway, that's my experience with having my gallbladder removed. Like I said, I know everybody's different. I'm sure that there are some people out there that have had bad experiences. I'm really sorry for that, and I'm sorry if you had a bad experience. I'm not minimizing your experiences by any means. I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I just kind of find that there's a lot more of those videos on YouTube of people talking about their terrible experiences. So I thought maybe I'd put my experience out there, because for what I have heard, because I know other people who have had their gallbladders out, their experiences were pretty much similar to mine. So I think for the most part, like I said, I'm sorry for people who have had a bad experience, and I'm not trying to minimize that in any means, but I think that's more on the lower percentage than those that actually recover fine and recover okay. Okay, so I'm going to get out of this tub, and thank you for listening. And I hope, if you're thinking about having your gallbladder out, or you've been told that you need to, really, I'm going to say you really don't have anything to worry about. I'm going to say, with me, it took me about 4 days. And I was digesting stuff fine, and I was feeling fine. And I really didn't have much in the way of pain. Now, mine was laparoscopic, which is the way most of it is done. So for the most part, don't worry about it. You're going to be fine. It's a very common surgery, if not the most common form of day surgery. Doctors are doing this every day. You're going to be fine. Don't worry. Like, I swear. And even with me, like what I said, I was like, my skin was better. I looked better. I felt better. You're going to be happy that you did it, because, really, you can live fine without it. Your body will adjust. Your body will figure it out. And, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Okay? So hopefully that has helped some people. That's my experience with having my gallbladder out. And, yeah. Okay. So have a great day. I hope that you're enjoying summer. And that's it for now.